The idea for Drive actually first popped into my head about 8 years ago or so. I was in Eastern Washington, and I was at this little skate park, and I just kind of thought to myself, like, this is such an out-of-the-way place. What if, you know, a professional skater just rolled up and got out and started skating with these kids? So I kind of took that idea and I put it in the back of my head, and then I met Mike a few years later, and Mike was getting ready to work on another video, and I kind of threw this idea that I had out to him, and what I knew about him at the time, it seemed like it would be a good fit and be something that he would be into.
When Mark laid it out for me, it made perfect sense because it was what I was already doing. You know, I was already traveling around the country, around the world, at a real grassroots level, and when Mark presented this concept, it just clicked. It was like, yeah, this is exactly what I should be continuing to do as a professional skater. It really helped define where I was at and where I wanted to go. And it's been a perfect fit. And the last, I don't know how many years we've been doing this now, but I feel my best work as a pro skater.
We're going on 5 years now, really, since the movie. And we're through 12 episodes of the show. So we've put some miles down. I think in the past 2 years, just driving the Wagoneer around, we're at like 19,000 miles crisscrossing the country and going back roads and going to all the the out of the way places.
Very clear, what the goal is, what the mission is, and it's very simple. It's just to get out there and share skateboarding at a very grassroots level in communities, for the most part, communities that are very undernourished and don't get a lot of attention, and it's really just about connecting, skateboarders connecting. And I'm lucky enough to have some notoriety, and that kind of helps, get in the door sometimes, but it's really what happens once you're in the door that really matters.
What if you were all the same?
That'd be so boring.
Yeah, this would be a boring scene, man. If everyone was like the same guy, one guy didn't have a big mouth, one guy wasn't hyper and throwing stuff around, it wouldn't be as fun. But hey, here's the main thing. The main thing is, in everyone's own personality and individuality makes it cool, makes it what it is. But at the end of the day, you gotta be respectful of each other. You gotta be cool with each other. Like I said when we first started, this is your skate scene. If there's fighting amongst yourselves, if you're not chill with each other, then this skate scene's never gonna be anything. If you guys build it together, even though one guy's hyper, even though one guy's blah, 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 these guys are still your friends, they're still your bros. You need some craziness in skateboarding, another profound statement. You need some craziness in life, man. Life would be boring without some craziness and good times. Be safe, be smart, be considerate, but have a good time.
I mean, it's almost like you just happen to be a skateboarder,
Yeah, I just happen to be a skateboarder, but the skateboarding end of it, or what it is that I do, is secondary to the goal of just getting out there and participating. We happen to participate at skate parks and in the skate community, but I think conceptually and what Drive is really all about could be applied to any activity, any pursuit, any lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
That's important to me because the work that I want to do as a pro skater and producing the television programming is to do something that's universal and that speaks to more people from the core of what it is, but also from a skateboarder's perspective, to share skateboarding to a bigger audience, because I think Drive can really communicate something about skateboarding to the non-skater.
Yeah, definitely. I think it goes both ways.
No.
You know, I get so much out of this. It's not like we just come in with our cameras and get this footage so we can make our show. It's like we live this. You know, we live every moment of it. And that's the best part about doing this, is the actual doing the miles and living it and experiencing these things.
Every episode of Drive has its own storyline, but when you put all of the episodes together, there's also a story arc that encompasses the entire season.
The first season, our very first road trip, the theme or the vibe of the season really just sprung out of being on the road. And we happened to pull up at this gas station outside this Indian reservation in northern Arizona. And I saw it and I said, we gotta pull over, we gotta check this thing out. And I kind of said to Mark, I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You know, I do a session by myself right here on this little cement pad at this gas station. And the vibe is, you can skate anywhere. And which is a really, to me, that's a really big thing. Because we're saying that skateboarding isn't limited. You don't have to be at a skate park, you don't have to have the best facilities, you don't have to have it all laid out for you. You can make something out of nothing.
You can skateboard anywhere. I grew up skateboarding in the mid-'80s in a small town in New Jersey. Unlike today, my friends and I didn't have skate parks or a designated area to ride. We had the streets in front of our homes that twisted through and connected our neighborhoods. It was on these streets and in abandoned parking lots that we first bloodied our shins and bruised our knees and elbows, forging our abilities on our boards and discovering the joy of skateboarding.
The first scene at the gas station in the first episode of Drive, I think that's also just real symbolic of the organic nature of the show. You know, in terms of, we have an idea of where we want to go, but a lot of the stories kind of come from being out on the road. So much of what we do, you know, is unexpected. A classic example is one time when remember when we were going through St. Angelo and there was that skate park that we went to go check out. We'd driven I think 300-400 miles, and we went to this park, and the park never got completed. It was just sitting there kind of half built. And we were like, oh, okay, well, let's move on. And we were sitting at this intersection, and you look over to the side and you saw this little ditch, you know, and you looked at it and you were like, let's skate this.
It was the kind of thing that I would have skated if I was driving down that road by myself without you guys, you know what I mean? It was just like, to me, that was like, when I saw that, I was like, I want to skate that, you know? And then we went and we documented it.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, in the editing of that, I think that's, you know, what I was trying to get across was that life's happening, and then you're here and you're riding your skateboard. And to you, that's all that matters at that moment. You're just sitting there riding your board, and just, you know, you're just a part of the environment. And I think that's one of my favorites, actually. I think it came out really, really cool. I mean, we definitely put the miles down. We don't just get shuttled around with a Wagoneer on the back of a trailer and show up at a skate park and say, well, let's go here, and then, you know, get shuttled off to the next place. I mean, we wake up in the morning, and we generally wake up pretty early, and on any given day, you know, we'll drive 500 miles and we'll skate 1 or 2 spots.
Nothing's really ever scripted. Everything you see that happens on camera is happening real time. And we allow things to develop, and we go in and we just, you know, if nothing's happening, a lot of these parks, I'll just skate them by myself for a long time, and then suddenly maybe someone shows up, and then things start happening, you know? And other times nothing happens, and I skate the park by myself, and we leave and go to the next park. There's maybe 1 or 2 times we've ever done a retake of something. Like I remember when we went to Paris, Texas, I think I drove up to the park twice.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I drove up to the park and my cover was blown and, you know, and then it was like this manufactured thing the second time. So the kids were completely oblivious to what was happening. The cameras were set up, I pulled up and I drove away. And you can see as I pull up and I walk up to the park, the reactions and what's happening is just, it's completely real. Like, these kids had no idea I was gonna come. I walk in the park and the kid's like, it's Mike Vallely, you know, like, it's just like, you gotta be kidding me, man.
Mike Vallely's in Paris, Texas right now. That's the craziest thing in the world.
Paris, Texas is kind of it's a town that's kind of economically been hit really hard, and definitely there's a downtown area that you can tell isn't really all that bustling anymore. But you know, when you go into a little town like that, Mike shows up. You know, these kids, they're just so blown away by you know, the fact that he's there. Like, why would you come to this town? And I think that's the reason to go to those towns right there, is because, you know, a lot of these kids are just so underserved in skateboarding, but just, I think a lot of them also feel that they've just kind of, you know, the town that they live in is just so neglected that it's like nobody cares about them.
Yeah, I think they really feel like where they live is nowhere.
Yeah.
You know? And over the course of the time I spend in a lot of these towns or at a lot of these skate parks, at some point, several people will ask me, why did you come here? Like, why are you here? And I always say, you're here, you know? You're here, man. That's it. That's the reason I'm here, you know?
Shake these bones from their place.
Yeah, what's up?
Hold on. do I know why I'm alive?
What I try to convey in the shows is just the experience of, you know, A, Mike's experiences of interaction, but also just the experience of the places that we go. And you know, try to convey visually, you know, what I feel of a place, you know, the tone, the music that's used. There's some kids that we meet that I think are pretty amazing kids, you know, and they're, you know, a lot of times they live in small towns and sometimes they feel trapped, and you know, I think in that way, Mike's interaction with them it's encouraging for them. I think there's definitely a light bulb that goes off in some of these kids' heads when they come into contact with you and share that experience with you, where they kind of think like, okay, there's something more out there, and it's in my power to do something about it. Because I think that's a large part of what, you know, your message is.
Yo, man, let me see that board right there. The one you're sitting on. Yeah. Dude, this thing's hurting. I think I can help you out, man.
It's because I know those kids, because I was that kid.
Yeah.
And there's not a very large separation between when I was 14 and who I am now.
Escapes. Do, 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 do.
So much of Drive is about the environments that we're in and documenting that and the feeling of that. And I think, you know, I mean, we've been real fortunate with the show to go internationally and go to some different countries, which just adds a whole nother element to the production side of it. I think different, unique little story angles that we capture. I mean, I think South Africa was a neat experience, being able to go up into the hills and not just being in the city, but going up and like living there and you know, and being with these kids and seeing the excitement that's there, really, since skateboarding got introduced, and the excitement that these kids had for doing it.
I think it just totally makes sense to go international with what we're doing, because what we're experiencing here in the States is happening everywhere. We saw that with the original film. We went to Russia, which was an amazing experience, and then going to South Africa and, you know, Grand Cayman and Israel. I mean, it's like, you know, going to places where it truly matters that we're showing up, and there has been no presence. There's been no pro skaters coming through, no skate events happening, and it's like bringing some excitement to these communities has made a big difference.
Kids are kids everywhere, you know, and they might be dealing with different situations through their, you know, whatever their government is or the place that they live, but the experience and the dialogue oftentimes is they're worried about the same things, they're into the same things, they want to know about the same things.
And a pretty radical thing that you can truly say that skateboarding is common ground. You know, it's like, it really makes the world pretty small when you can travel all around the world and have instant connection, instant relationship, instant dialogue with people that live thousands and thousands of miles away from you. And there's just no walls or barriers. As soon as you put that skateboard down, it's like everything's blown wide open.